Name is Margaret Ann Windsor, and this is Philip Sullivan that I grew up with, thinking he was a half brother. That's the top picture with me, obviously made years ago. This is me about the same time with my sons Mark and Scott. And these are mind control murders that fit in patterns, which is what I'm trying to get across. Mark Kelly and Scott Kelly are twins. Astronauts, leads you back to NASA, Huntsville, Houston, if you want to say Houston, but Huntsville originated. And Lawrence County, Alabama is where, when I was kidnapped from Buckingham Palace, 1941, they took me to Moulton, Alabama, and gave me the name of a twin, Peggy Ann Dipsy Childers. Both twins, Peggy and Carl, were born out of wedlock and were killed by their mother, Lina. So the point I want to make is these are murders that are done using patterns and mind control. Aurora, Colorado, the Virginia Tech shootings, 33 of them. Next door to me in Blacksburg, I was kind of exiled up here to Roanoke, and not kind of was, in '06, lived on the Appalachian Trail and froze, starved. It's shocking what people do when you're down and out and they're afraid of repercussions, or it was just really a joke that you could kidnap the monarch, British monarch, and install George VI and Elizabeth. They're part of the New World Order, the Freemasons. They're members. My Uncle George helped in my kidnapping. Joe Kennedy, which is JFK's father, was appointed ambassador by Roosevelt, and he helped in my kidnapping. And JFK, his son, and Joseph, the oldest, were flying in and out to the embassy there. So I don't know how I got to Moulton, Alabama, if I was dropped off at the air base there in Cortland they just built, or not. I sure didn't crawl across the pond to get there to that hellhole. Both twins were dead, illegitimate. I grew up being told I was Peggy. This is my dad, Edward VIII, who never married Wallace Simpson. She was an American spy, and she was illegitimate, born out of wedlock. This is a double. By the way, they're they're buried with the royal family. I don't know where my mom and dad are. Most people haven't even heard of my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe. He was never married to the Simpson. All of it was a lie, and the 99-year seal put on it. My mother's sister was George O'Keefe, the American artist. This is my Uncle George, who was a traitor and betrayed his own brother and sold out his country and helped kidnap me with the Kennedys. This is Roosevelt, who appointed Kennedy ambassador. And that was 39. I was kidnapped in 41. They were planning my kidnapping. So I wrote about mind control murders, and Larry Flynn, I keep showing this because it gets some attention. Larry Flint was shot while I was doing the book at Moonraker Apartments in Marietta, Georgia, off Delk Road, and the title of it was MD, A License to Kill. And it's almost like the Brits came in and supported me. They did with Timothy Dalton, A License to Kill. That was after I was doing the book, and Moonraker with Roger Moore. They're both 007s. And by the way, later on, Georgia O'Keefe is my aunt, and she had Ghost Ranch before she died out in near Santa Fe. And Daniel Craig made a movie that was filmed there on Ghost Ranch, and I don't think there was any other movies filmed there. And he's 007. But anyway, Larry Flint was shot in Lawrenceville near Marietta. And while I was doing the book, and he says here in this endorsement, he says I knew who was responsible for his shooting. He names Larry McDonald and Murphy, and anyway, their program, there's programming, and it's the agency that's doing it, just like this. And before I lose you again, this is it's hard to get this on a tape and make it where you can understand it. It says biochip twins. This is Timothy McVeigh, the Oklahoma City bombing, who said that the Army put a chip up his buttocks. This is William, the illegal William, who had, right in my face, flaunted it, that whole bunch of frauds, named his son George after his great-great-grandfather, illegal George VI, that helped kidnap me, Victoria II, the legal heir. But this is the name of by the way, this one can be connected very much with, and Terry Nichols, with the mind control patterns, implantable biochips. So I'm going to leave that because I wanted to go to this. When I found out, and I'm not making this clear, when I found out about my kidnapping in '83 and was flown out to Flint, and by the way, the Brits told me, I had always wondered. I grew up, I was taken there in '41 to Moulton, Alabama, given the name of the twins, and it was nothing but a pigsty there. Well, Lana Dempsey, I was told the mother, I was the twin, the other twin was dead when both of them was, and she was working at the air base, and she was living off and on, and she never married. I think one time she married back in the late 60s or mid-60s, and of all things, she married Milton Mason, didn't last. But the Masonic, the Freemasons, New World Order, Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Kennedys are the ones that kidnapped me and my uncle and put me over there. Now, Philip, she was supposed to, well, she did get pregnant, Lina Dempsey did, and Rufus Sullivan was in the Army there at Cortland Air Base, and supposedly he got her pregnant, or she became pregnant, and in 1944-45, she was pregnant and she did have a baby. Okay, Philip, and by the way, that later Elizabeth, illegal she may be, but she's there, married Philip Mountbatten. Both of them are kin to me, and they're frauds. But anyway, so you got the Philip and Philip. But when they brought the baby back, he weighed 12 pounds, and he's supposed to be her son. I can't prove this, but with other things I know, I don't believe, number one, that Philip was born into that family. This is not her son. They may have been switched, but I think he's kin to assistant director under Hoover, FBI director William Sullivan. Now, he was named, if you Google it, in the Kennedy assassination. And then William Sullivan was shot in a hunting accident in 1977 in North Carolina. So that was questionable. But I really wonder if Philip's not if he wasn't kidnapped and put there too, and the baby switched. The Warren Commission, I worked at the DA Simpson, as in Wallace Simpson, supposed to marry my father. It was a lie. And in 1980 in Huntsville, Alabama, Madison County DA, I lived at Warren House. So you got the Warren cover-up that would link my kidnapping and John Kennedy and his father, Joe Kennedy, to my kidnapping. And how about Philip? What really happened there? Because I think he was really related to Assistant FBI Director Sullivan, William Sullivan. So I don't know, but that's the point I wanted to make.